just because someone doesn't stop and do what you say, when you say, you know, you can look back and say, I told you so, I told you back a mile ago, you should have pulled over. And so you got this 20/20 going on, and I think he's exaggerating.
It seemed like you read some comments from him or what the driver said, and it seemed a little flippant.
When I read, the driver said,
Yeah, you were saying this is what the driver said.
And he was old, the same age, and he can take care of himself.
Yeah.
what talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there some other comments there by him? It just kind of sounded like he was, you know, not very serious about caring about what this guy happened to this guy.
Kid, I don't recall reading anything like that, but Angie did
He
say
said
something about.
he had diabetes, he was denying that.
He was the same age, so he could take care of himself.
Yeah, that was
What about, how long did it take him to have skin grafts?
Several months, and it was not in June.
Was that in January 15?
No idea.
I don't have an answer to that.
Okay. Because it sounded like it was down the road quite a bit. And again, it bothers me a little bit that, you know, he had burns bad enough to have skin grafts, but he didn't seem to get immediate treatment for those burns.
The information that I read from said that the accident was on May 4, 2014, and he went to a wound specialist in January of 2015. That doesn't say that's when the surgery was, that's when he went to the wound specialist.
When he said he burned his foot, does he still have his shoes that he could show that they were burnt? We don't know, I mean, that would be, but it seemed like that would be something that would be important if you had a shoe that actually was burnt, you know.
If the bottom melted, then
Yeah.
it would make sense that the bottom of his foot is blistered. But
Yeah,
if his shoe is
He didn't say he
fine,
caught him on fire when he jumped out, did he?
Well, he said it was smoking, but when I was listening to what Angie said, he said they'd lost power steering. Well, typically, if it lost power steering, it had to be on fire because it burned off the belt or it burned the power steering holder
That's,
too.
you are right. So when they coasted into this parking lot, because the power steering quit, when he opened up the,
He's on the fire.
right,
Then
that's
he
when
saw the
the,
flames because the air got to
yeah,
it.
and at that time, Dr. Davis was still
So
in the
let the
truck.
fire be down in his feet?
It could be, it could, when they saw the smoke, it could already be, it could be flames there, you just didn't see them.
They just didn't pop out,
Didn't
yeah,
pop out, right.
yeah.
pickup trucks are a little different, you know, it's how close they are, so.
See the smoke trailing the vehicle?
That's when he first saw it.
Yeah, so Dr. Davis saw the smoke through the side view mirror, following the smoke cloud following the vehicle. All right, anyone else have any questions or observations or thoughts?
To me, I'm thinking he probably already had the foot ulcer, and the burn probably did aggravate it, and it might have progressed it more. But I'm thinking he probably already had that foot ulcer.
Well, let me ask you all this, if the case was presented to you, and they just took the foot ulcer garbage out of the case and just presented you the case with the broken toe, the injured knee, would that make the case less difficult for you all to?
For me, it would, because I almost believe that, he wanted to get out of there, so he jumped out of the truck,
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't keep sitting there, especially if I was breathing those fumes. He's probably having a hard time breathing anyway, with.
And you have to look at his age, if he injured his knee and he's 67, that's pretty tough.
Well, he was 67
Or even
when the
60
doctor saw him in
65, I
2016, so he
mean,
was
if you
65.
injure your knee, you're jumping out of the truck.
Yeah.
There's,
They should take care of him for that toe and that knee, but the rest of it he's lying about.
Well, in the burns, he truly got burned from the accident, from the fire.
Where he had the skin graft and stuff on.
Did you all see
Flank.
anything?
But but my biggest question is how, is there any history of, okay, I went and had these burns treated and, because at the time, if he waited a year or 8 months or whatever it was to go and have them looked at, to me, I question how bad they really,
I question if they even, if you don't have any documentation that shows that it happened the first day, because you refused your medical attention or whatever, then that could just be another problem with his diabetes, and just in a different spot. I mean, it's,
With the knee and the big toe?
no, just the burn.
Right.
Just what he's saying is burn, because you can get any kind of sores, sores don't heal when you're diabetic, so he could have had anything, and it turned into something bigger. If you don't, if he ignored it from the beginning, then I don't know that I buy that it was there at the beginning.
Well, when he
Ignored
went
a
to,
bunch of stuff.
when he went
Yeah.
6 days later, they would have
Right.
seen the burns on him though.
I mean, I still have a problem if he didn't even go to the doctor right away. When he was in a vehicle accident, and he didn't go see somebody, at least to get checked out. You know?
Same here.
But he's a doctor.
See, I can accept the fact that he jumped out of the car, he stubbed his toe or whatever, and he made it tweak his knee, and he goes like, I don't know how bad this is, And so he goes like, okay, I'm gonna go home. And then maybe a week later, he's going like, man, my toe hasn't gotten any better, and my knee's getting worse. So I gotta go see somebody, and then I find out that, yeah, you got a broken toe, and torn a ligament or whatever, and you need surgery. Okay, I can accept that. I have a hard time accepting the fact that you have burns on your legs bad enough that will eventually need skin grafts on them, and you don't see anything about it. So, and then I also question, well, how much should you be awarded for, jumping out and tweaking your knee and cracking your toe? I don't know. I don't know that that's, certainly should be compensated in some form or fashion possibly for that, but how much that's really worth is the question in my mind.
Okay, well, that's a question that we're going to get to, but let me ask you this. In a case like this, Dr. Davis is responsible for showing liability by Mr. Castile for something that he did that caused some injury. One of the defenses that the defense gets to raise is what's called a failure to mitigate your damages, which means if you have an injury, it's your responsibility to get treatment for it. You can't sit back and let the wound fester and have your leg amputated because you didn't get a scratch clean. That's an extreme example. So in this case, the defense has raised a failure to mitigate damages defense. The jury in the case will have to assess percentages of fault between Dr. Davis and Mr. Castile. So if you are asked to assess a percentage of fault, and keeping in mind percentage of fault to Dr. Davis includes any failure to mitigate defense, what would your percentages of fault be on the board?
You want us to write this down or you just make it?
You can just tell me and I'll put it on the board here.
I would say about 50-50.
50-50. No?
I know.
I can come back to you if you want.
Yeah, come back to me, please.
Yep.
I think at this point I had to say 50-50 because I just would have to hear
Yeah, I think
a
so.
little bit more from
50-50.
both sides to
Yeah.
All right.
kind of lean toward.
Yeah, it's tough. I think there's more facts I need to answer that. I mean, I'll answer it one way, but if there were some other facts that we had, I might answer it differently. I'm really concerned about what the condition of the truck was at the time, and was Castile negligent in keeping that truck running the way, or is this some freak thing that happened, or, things happen. I mean, things do
True that
happen.
he didn't help the doctor get out of the
Right.
truck.
Well, there's
That-
definitely that, but that was just another thing that I would like to have answered. So
Yeah,
I would say, I'm gonna say 70 Davis, yeah.
70% fault?
What's that?
70% fault to Davis?
Yeah.
All right. And Ellen,
When
you?
you
Yeah,
put
I'm gonna
everything
change my
together.
vote. You can erase one else. I'm gonna say 30 Mr. Davis, 70 Castile, because he was the driver, and I still think,
even if, you know, it was a POS truck and, you know, it's done this before,
Just to let
you know, when you're driving by yourself, that's one thing, but when you have passengers, you're responsible for your passengers, I feel. You know, their their safety, unless they're hanging out the window going, ooh, or doing something stupid, you know, while you're driving, so.
Is it Sherry?
Yeah.
You said that you would vote 70-30 unless you had more facts. The other facts that you were talking about.
I'd like to know the
condition
condition of
truck.
the, yeah, if Castile was negligent with regard to the condition of the truck.
And we don't have those facts.
I know.
So
So,
I'm sorry.
there you go.
Constance, I think you're up.
I want to be clear on what is it that he is claiming he's damaged.
That's going to be the next question. I just want to get percentages of fault at this point.
So you're saying,
Oh, what body parts is he claiming?
yeah, what is he
He's got the broken
claiming?
toe, the injured knee, the ulcerated foot, the wound, and the skin graft on the thigh.
Okay.
Am I missing anything?
He's not claiming the lung damage anymore.
Well,
Heart failure?
Heart failure, yes.
That's all, oh.
Heart failure and.
That's in there too?
Yes.
Oh, then I gotta go down,
Go
sorry.
down.
25 for Dr. Davis. I mean,
25?
75 for Dr. Davis.
Now, you said you have to go down.
Yeah, I was gonna
Because
give
he's-
him 50-50, but if it weren't for that lie about the.
Okay. No,
cardiac
that's, I'm glad you're telling me this.
situation.
If he didn't claim that, you would go 50-50,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm going 40% for Dr. Davis and, 40% for Dr. Davis and 60% for Castile. And the reason I say that is because when he finally did pull over, he did nothing to try to help him get out. I mean,
Okay.
you know,
How do you know that for real though?
that's,
I think
Wait,
He
you
said he
said-
poured water on the car.
He
and
testified to that he didn't help him, that he was just worried about the truck.
Yeah, Castillo
No, I
did.
still can't fault him for that. It's just-
Why would he think that he's not gonna be able to get out on his own?
Yeah, I can't fault him for that.
Why would he think he needed
I
help?
would think that, you know, you'd be able to get out of the car. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be thinking you needed help unless you were
We're
disabled in
running
some
short
way.
on time, so I'm sorry, but
Okay, so I'm gonna go 37.
Sue?
50. Let's say 25-75.
And I didn't get your name, no.
It's Maudie,
Maudie?
Maudie.
Maudie, okay. You're the smoker, right? I started smoking around
2080.
20-80.
I was gonna go the other way, 80-20.
Maybe 20. It's probably going to all balance out at 50-50.
Yeah.
Maura?
50-50.
50-50. Okay, now the next question for all of you, how much money would you award Dr. Davis? And set aside these numbers here because the judge will figure out the percentages. The way it works, if you award $100,000 and you assess 25% fault to Dr. Davis, then the judge takes 25% off the $100,000. But just give me a raw number as to how much money you would award without regard to percentage of fault.
This is how.
And I'm gonna start this in, so you don't have to go
Can I
first.
just ask real quick, would that, are his medical bills covered, or is that something that he had to
You
pay?
said he paid on
They are covered,
This is additional.
but he has to pay that money back on any verdict or settlement or whatever.
but he had out of the pocket
It was
40,000 already. Was it-
Oh, yeah, 40-some thousand was paid already, and 100,000.
That's including all the damages.
40,000 paid,
Toe and
40,000
knee.
some change, and 280,000 that was actually billed.
Was billed.
But he did not pay it. Okay, Lauren, I'm going to start with you if you don't mind.
Yeah.
How much would you award?
Davis, probably 50,000.
50,000 total? Okay. Next.
20,000.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. What is this figure?
This is the raw number that you think his damages should be awarded, not taking into consideration how much you get, it's reduced by the percentages. So you award, if you say $100,000, but it's 50-50 fault, and that $100,000 gets cut in half to 50,000. I just want the raw number, the 100,000, the total damages that you think would be fair to compensate him, assuming 100% of the fault is with Castillo. Okay, so, Tony?
So you never told us what the damages he was actually seeking, or did I miss that?
I may have not told you, he's claiming a broken toe, a knee injury. that
No,
he-
the total monetary damages, what is he asking for? Or did you not?
The medical bills?
No.
How much do you
Oh.
want?
Oh, how much do you want? We don't have a number for that. We're asking you, what do you think is a fair number?
Did he lose work time? Is he claiming he lost work?
Yes.
How
And
long?
he was making 100,000.
He was in the hospital for, on and off for a year, unable to do anything, basically.
Does
What
that,
was
does
the
that
reason
change your
for
number,
that?
Lorna, knowing that?
Huh?
What was the reason,
Okay.
what was the reason for him being in the hospital like that?
Well, for the wounds, treating the wounds and
So
stuff.
what if he had them treated immediately, would he have been out of work all that time still?
See, up to that point, there was no record. He was working, he was earning a living.
So was he going to work the next day and the day after? Did he go to work?
I think he just laid around the house.
There's so many unanswered. I'll give him the 41K for his medical expenses.
Okay.
I'm gonna say at least 100,000.
Young spender.
Wow, I didn't get that.
Sue?
50,000.
I never claimed anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say only about 50.
That's generous.
I'd say the same thing.
50?
I'm gonna second that again.
Me too. That's why I said, I think you wrote
You
mine.
did
down.
You said me too?
Yeah.
Okay.
With 50/50 culpability, I'll put 82,000.
So 82 is your raw number?
But you
So
said, you said assuming 100% liability.
So what you're saying is that you would award 82,000, assuming it's going to be a 50/50 split, so he'll net 41.
I'm gonna say 100K. I'm still mad he didn't try and help him get out of the truck.
Yeah.
Can I ask,
It's cheaper to leave him.
anyone here from St. Charles County besides, Lauren, I know you are, you're from St. Charles County, okay. This case will be in St. Charles County, so I'm curious for that. I really appreciate your time and your thoughts. Any final thoughts before I sit down and shut up? Thank you very much.
We'll take another 10-minute break and get started about 6 or 7 after.